You gotta sit there, buddy. Come on. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Happy about that? Oh, maybe that looks okay. The mount is exactly the same place where I left it last time. This is of course the first time I've driven it since the last time you saw me in that video. It is really warm, so I'm gonna have to drop the window. So same problem maybe as last week. So what I'm gonna do today is a pros and cons to owning a Defender. You may be considering buying one, you may not, and just be here for just, yeah, because. Or you might be a veteran. So whichever, I hope you do enjoy the video. I'm now going to back out and I'll catch you up in a bit. Okay, so we're back on the road. I must explain that I have adjusted the camera ever so slightly, so if it does look odd, forgive me. I hope that it is all going to plan, because again, I'm trying to get good at this. I do want to commit to this properly, and I'm trying to make the best quality that I can from the get-go. And you may not be able to see him, but I have got the lovely Woody with me on my drive today. He's in the front, he's all clipped in, and he just wanted to come out because he's getting bored in the house as well. Don't say it. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored in the house, because I'm bored in the house. That's probably the wrong lyric, but oh well. So, pros and cons to owning a Defender. Now, like I said earlier, if you've never owned a Defender before, then this is going to be very informative for you. If you are a veteran, well, you'll just find it funny then, I guess, maybe. I try humour. So, pro number one, it is just, of course, going to be straight off the bat, the community. Every time you see a Land Rover, well, mainly Defender, you wave at them, and they will probably wave back to you. Some choose not to. If you choose not to, well, why? And of course, if you do, you know who you are. Leave a like if you do. So I should see lots of likes. And yeah, every time you wave to someone, it does feel brilliant. You do feel a part of something, and it's just brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love it. The community is very, very strong. It is almost religious, if I dare to say that, in 2020. Pro number two is that essentially the Land Rover Defender is a bit like a Lego car. It's quite easy to dismantle, well, not dismantle as such, but it's quite easy to take bits off and put them back on again. You don't have to be an experienced mechanic to work on it. And it's getting so hot. I'm gonna have some pretty foul coloured armpits in a minute, guys. I am sorry. So yeah, you don't have to be an experienced mechanic to work on this. There are so many forums out there, so many YouTube videos. There's a nice Ferrari going by, 360. So yeah, you don't have to be experienced at all, which is brilliant. And of course, all you need is a spanner, maybe a couple wrenches every now and then for the rusty bolts, but most of the time you'll be alright. And again, there are always places that parts aren't actually that expensive. Well, people may disagree with that because there are some really expensive bits, but if you look around and you shop around, Britpop, paddock spares, you'll typically find a good deal. So that comes around to my third pro, which kind of ties in with the first, and that is that servicing this car is so easy. Firstly, you don't need to jack it up, you just get underneath it. Secondly, all the servicing kits are already made up for you online. Go on Britpop, paddock spares, I think they all do them. You have to buy the oil filter, you know, air filters, everything you need to service your Land Rover, and you just do it. And if you don't know where something is if you don't know where your oil filter is on the engine, Google it, it will tell you. There are so many people that will help you in the Land Rover community. And so, the fourth, well, you don't feel bad if you dent it. Of course, if someone pranged into this, their car would come off considerably worse, and that, well, mine probably would just receive a little nick in the paint. So really, if you are prone to crashing into things, or people are prone to crashing into you, a Defender is a great choice. And especially, which is going to be my 5th pro, is that people always get out your way. I've never experienced that another car, lorries, yeah, but they're in a class of their own. Cars just do not want to come near you. I'm not sure why, because they're no different to a larger van. Oh, the police. I don't want to get pulled over. Well, that would be so good for clickbait. But most cars, if you're driving on the road, they just give way to you, even if it's your right of way. Again, nonsense. Why am I talking to nonsense? So, pro number 5 is going to be the fact that this is your canvas. This is, if you buy a basic Defender, you can choose to do whatever on earth you want with it. For instance, I decided to go down the camper van route, as you already know. So yeah, if you want to do a camper van, you just build something in the back. That's what I've done. I've come from very little experience. I've not built a camper van before. This is my first ever camper build. And my first Land Rover build, to be fair. It won't be my last, but it is my first. So what else can you do? You can turn it into an absolute monster off-road. You can do amazing things with it to make it even more capable off-road. So yeah, you can turn it into a track car, theoretically. It might be a bit difficult, but you can do it, definitely. I mean, you only have to look at the Bulldog, which is the Defender 90. I mean, that looks incredible, but you pay a hefty price for something like that. What a voice crack that was. Wow! Number 6 would have to be the fact that these vehicles will never depreciate. Well, they will. They might depreciate at some point. I don't know. I can't predict the future, but it would look as if they're not going to. And for cars, that is a huge positive. Pro number 7, now this would have to be its off-road capability. You already know it. Even if you've not really heard of the Defenders before, you know Land Rover Defenders, instantly you know them to be good at off-roading. And they haven't got that reputation for no reason. So I guess it's that time where we move on to the cons. Now, I would love to sit here and say that there is nothing wrong with the Defender, and that when you buy one, there's not a part of you that's like, oh, for God's sake. But there is, and you will inevitably get that when you buy one, because they do have their setbacks and their not so good bits. So, the first one we all know is the theft of Defenders. It's your biggest con, because, well, there's such high demand for them from criminals that will come along and they will nick your pride and joy. And it probably won't be that difficult, which I don't want to admit, because I don't want mine to get stolen, but then I don't want it to make it really obvious to thieves that it is not that difficult. But I'm not going to tell you how. You have to work that one out for yourselves. Even if your Land Rover doesn't get nicked, you might wake up and still not have any doors. Right, so con number 2 is comfort. Now you might find that I'm shouting a bit. Now that is probably partially because I am slightly deaf. So I do tend to shout. Not shout, but raise my voice quite a lot. And not intentionally. But in this, you do have to pick up your voice quite a bit. So yeah, it is sound deadened, but it doesn't really do much. And again, as you can hear, it is... whether you can hear that or not, I'm not sure. But it is loud. You know, I am needing to shout. Also, because this has no aircon, you have to drop the window. And, well, sorry, yeah, you do have to drop the window, and that makes it even louder. But for this purpose, I'm keeping the window up. Well, there is no armrest for one unless you drop the window. Well, in winter, in the UK, you don't always want to be dropping the window. And again, just other comforts like air conditioning. I would love air conditioning in this. Instead, I just get a warm fan that feels like an asthmatic mouse breathing through a straw at me. The seats aren't too bad. It's custom. You can customise it to suit your standards. If you're not bothered about comfort of the seats, leave them as they are. You know, they are seats, they serve their function very well, and they're easy to clean. But if you do want to improve the comfort, just go and get some Exmoor trim seats. And they were so good. They were absolutely incredible. I drive an A-Class, and those seats are not as good as Exmoor trims. So Mercedes need to up their game. Oh, the Z4, the new one. Nice. So con number 3, it's going to have to be the fact that when this thing does go wrong and it does need fixing, it costs a lot to do so. Okay, so con number 3, and I've forgotten. Oh, con number 3, and that is going to have to be the rust. Yeah, these things rust, and it's always going to happen unless you do completely strip it back. Buy one that's never had any other work done to it before, it's going to be rusty underneath. So yeah, these things do rust quite considerably quickly as well. But again, if you do want to buy one, just get underneath and have a look. You'll soon discover if there is rust, and if you can put a screwdriver through it, it's not great, and I would probably stay clear of it. So, places to look out for with rust is definitely the chassis and the bulkhead. Those are really your two places where you do want to make sure are in good ship-shape working condition. Places, so if you've got rust on a door panel, you see some bubbling, a door can be replaced, and for not that much money. Well, certainly not in comparison to a chassis or a bulkhead. And this is probably the last con, is fuel, because you get through quite a lot of it and it is quite thirsty, and with it being diesel as well, you have to pay more than petrol, which is definitely why I'm going to get a V8 put in this at some point. I think that's all the pros and cons. I don't see any other negatives for the Land Rover, to be honest. I think it is such a good car, van, whatever you want to call it. I'm doing 40, you're not, you're speeding. So the other con is speed. If you watch the previous video, you will notice that this isn't a quick car. We did a 0 to 60 test, and it did 0 to 60 in 22 seconds. Not great, but then again, you buy one not for its speed. I mean, I knew full well what I was getting myself into when I bought this. I wasn't looking at it thinking, you know what, I could probably get 10 out of that. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, and if you want a Defender, you will too. But it's definitely a sacrifice well worth making, because sometimes speed isn't everything. As much as I like Jeremy Clarkson and James May, Richard Hammond, the Grand Tour lot, I side with James May a lot of the time. And speed is not everything. So all you Jeremy Clarkson fans, sorry. I guess I could try and show you my attempt at driving this thing quickly. I do like to go fast. I've just sat there and said, oh, I side on James May's side. Alright, look at that one up big time. But I do like to go quickly sometimes. So I will try and do, when I go on a quiet road, is this a landy? Oh, it is! Oh, perfect timing. And you're ready, so it's done. Yes! You beauty! Oh, did not have asked for something better to be in my video than another Land Rover. And they wave back. Absolutely brilliant. So if you know who you were then, leave a like. And if it wasn't you, and you know it not to be you, leave a like. Alright, so apart from being a cyclist, I will try and belt it down this country road as quick as I can within the legal speed limit. Just to give you a taste of what it can be like to drive a Land Rover. For anybody that sits there and says, oh yeah, it's not fun, or you know, because it's slow, it can't be that fun to drive, etc, etc, that's really tight. Oh, but really, you're not going tremendously fast. No, I could do it a lot quicker. But for a Land Rover, this is so good and it is fun to drive. I mean, look at this, I'm absolutely flogging it up here now. When would you ever look at almost a 3-ton vehicle and think, yeah, that could do that? Steering's not great. It does feel a bit shit, but it's still fun. It puts a smile on your face. But the Land Rover captures every sort of a person that it possibly could be. They are almost like people. And that, I think, is why there is such a huge community behind it. And as to why these people treat Land Rovers like religions. I mean, when on earth would you ever drive a car and wave at another person for being in the same car as you? You don't see Volvo drivers just, hello, nice Volvo. Alright, so we are now coming up to the end of our journey and our video together. I do thank you for being here. It really does mean a lot to me when I see people coming and viewing my videos. It does mean an awful lot to me, guys, so a massive thank you. I am trying to get good at this, and what I wanted to say was, you know, I've got so many brilliant ideas for this channel. Oh, that was a bad gear shift. But again, with coronavirus going on, I've got really good ideas, but I don't want to do them yet because the videos won't be what they could be. And you know, there'll be great videos once we're able to go out and we're able to explore more. This video really was kind of off the cuff, if that's the right saying. You know, it was kind of, oh, well, I could do that. I might always return back to this subject a bit better. Basically, just hang on, wait out for coronavirus to pass. Once we're out of isolation, this YouTube channel will flourish, and I will make the odd video every now and then. But I know what it's like when content dries up and stuff. People get bored, and I honestly don't blame you guys for wanting to turn off early. But you know, stick around. I promise you, it's going to get better. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much. Take care. See you later.